Lee Myung-jun, the vice chairman of Hyundo Group, lost his daughter to a group of bullies. Seeking revenge, he adopts Yoon Karma, a psychopathic defector girl. Yoon Karma, a sadistic human weapon created through drug experiments in North Korea. After killing everyone in the research lab, she escaped to South Korea on her own. Having just been released from a juvenile detention center in South Korea, Yoon Karma sets out to hunt down the bullies at school, driven by the desire to avenge her new father and satisfy her sadistic pleasures. The story begins on the terrace of a building, where a woman stands, crying. She gazes down at the cars below, whispers an apology to her father, and then jumps. On the television, a news broadcast reveals that a middle school girl recently made an extreme choice after enduring the terrible criminal acts committed by a group of students, which caused public outrage. These students had cruelly placed a dog collar around her neck and forced her to eat burning cigarette butts. They also used humiliating photos of her to intimidate and silence her from telling the truth, relentlessly harassing her. The revelation of these heinous atrocities sent shockwaves through the community. Meanwhile, the father of the victim, Mr. Lee, was revealed to be Lee Myung-jun, the vice chairman of the Hyundai Group, further fueling the public uproar. In response, Vice Chairman Lee announced that he would issue an official statement regarding the punishment of the students who bullied his daughter. Shockingly, he declared that he would forgive them. The news reporters were stunned. Lee continued, expressing that as a father, he was heartbroken by his daughter's tragic decision. He explained that, despite the severity of their actions, the perpetrators were still so young that he believed it was right to show compassion and offer forgiveness as a senior member of society. And that's why he asked the government to show leniency toward the children. He then concluded the conference. As he was leaving, reporters began asking if he had discussed his decision with his family, questioning whether it was too lenient given the severity of the crime. They also asked if he truly believed this was the right course of action for his daughter, as the entire nation was outraged by the perpetrators. As Lee made his way out, a man shouted, asking if he truly called himself a father. Lee remained silent, and the reporters continued to press him, demanding an answer. They questioned what kind of conference it was, and insisted that the wrongdoers should face legal consequences. They asked what his daughter had done to deserve such treatment. The event was being broadcast live, and many viewers flooded the stream with a wide range of opinions. Some even speculated that the girl wasn't Lee's biological daughter. Sitting alone in his office, Lee reflected on how people would speak as they pleased, claiming she wasn't his biological child or insinuating that she had been disowned. But they couldn't possibly understand his pain. Gripping a bottle tightly in his hand, Lee's anger surged, and in that moment, he crushed it, overwhelmed by the immense sorrow he felt. As tears streamed down his face, he realized that his decision to show leniency wasn't an act of forgiveness, but rather a result of his reluctance to punish the perpetrators under a lenient juvenile law. He didn't want to use that law as a tool for retribution. The weight of guilt settled in as he realized too late that his daughter had never been able to confide in him about the bullying she was enduring. The reason Lee had tried to handle everything on his own was because he had always been a person who put others first. Now, he deeply regretted that decision. He wished he had raised his daughter to be a little more selfish. But he had promised her that he would make those responsible for her suffering pay for what they did. At that moment, a man approached Lee, informing him that he had brought the child Lee had mentioned. Lee turned to him, asking if the girl had adjusted to life in South Korea. The girl's name was Karma, and she greeted Lee, calling him stepfather and thanking him for his care, saying that she was living well. Lee expressed his relief and happiness that she was doing well. However, the man standing nearby didn't seem at ease. Lee stood up, adjusting his tie, and told Karma that she should start preparing to go to school. The man was shocked by this. Upon hearing Lee's words, Karma smirked, and her eyes reddened as she asked if someone like her could even attend school. The man urged her to stop, but Lee calmly responded, asking why she couldn't. He reminded them that it was a free democratic country, and no matter what the man said, he would ensure Karma went to school, even if it took a full year of preliminary work to make it happen. The man approached Karma and told her that she should start getting used to her new surroundings. He suggested that she try making some friends there. Karma responded, telling him not to beat around the bush, and that he didn't mean friends but rather playing. The scene shifts to Unro High School later that year, in late May. A girl called out to June, urging her to eat the snacks they had given her. She asked why June wasn't eating, explaining that it was a special protein-rich milk. At that moment, June was crying, and the girl asked if it was because the milk lacked protein flakes. Another girl named Song laughed at the situation. Song insisted that June eat the milk, assuring her it was tasty. Frightened, June hesitated and explained that the milk had expired over a month ago, and that it was filled with insects. Suddenly she felt nauseous, and Song questioned why June was gagging before even eating it. June asked them not to do this, explaining that the expired milk wasn't safe. Song retorted, asking if June didn't know how cheese was made, implying that the milk wasn't expired but aged. Song insisted she just wanted to give June something good, and wondered when she would understand. She then pulled out a pair of scissors and asked if June would understand when she used them to cut her up. Terrified, June reluctantly prepared to eat the milk. Despite June's pleas, Song used the scissors to cut her. The other girls watching remarked that it was insane, and one wondered aloud whether she should report it to the teacher. The second girl dismissed the idea, asking if the first girl didn't know that Song had been the one who killed a chaebol's daughter, but didn't face any punishment for it. The first girl was shocked, asking if that was even possible. The second girl responded that if she didn't believe it, she should ask the kids from Sayo Middle School. She also asked if the first girl didn't really know about it. A third girl overheard their conversation. The first girl denied it, explaining that she thought Song's actions were due to her trust in her older brother. She then asked who Song was. Was she the daughter of a congressman or something? The second girl shrugged, saying she didn't know, and warned the first girl not to get involved with Song. Meanwhile, at the back of the classroom, June begged Song to stop cutting her, asking if she hadn't suffered enough. But Song continued tormenting her. The other girls were horrified by what was happening. As June screamed in pain, the class president stood up, and soon a teacher entered the room. The teacher scolded the girls, calling them troublemakers, and saying they acted out whenever the teacher wasn't around. She could hear their laughter all the way from the teacher's office. The teacher then instructed them to sit down, as she had an announcement to make. A girl wondered what was going on, and why the homeroom teacher had arrived so early that day. Song quickly told her to hide the milk. She then turned to June, warning her that if she acted out in front of the teacher, Song would leak her private photos. The teacher instructed the students to sit down quickly, announcing that they had a new transfer student. Since the girl was a defector, the teacher emphasized that they should take good care of her. The girls were excited, pleased to hear that someone from North Korea would be joining them. The teacher then asked the transfer student to introduce herself. The new student was none other than Karma, who greeted the class by saying she was from North Korea and asked everyone to take good care of her. The scene shifts to Lee, where a man tells him it's not too late to reconsider sending Karma back to the North Korean Juvenile Detention Center. He warned that if Lee went ahead with changing his daughter's residence, problems would arise. Lee, calling the man Chief Baek, asked if Baek really thought that he had adopted a daughter. Baek agreed, but Lee denied it, clarifying that he had only adopted a hunting dog. Baek then reminded him of Karma's history, how she had defected alone in 2018 at the age of 13, and had been found by patrols near the Han River. Due to biological experiments conducted by North Korean authorities, Karma showed signs of frontal lobe damage. Experts' CAP, child abuse and psychopathy, test results led to a diagnosis of psychopathy. Notably, she was found incapable of feeling pain or shame. The bloodstains on the clothes she wore during her defection were suspicious. Investigations, including legal hypnosis, revealed disturbing details. During the defection process, there was a case of familial homicide, and she was linked to 13 murder cases. DNA analysis of the bloodstains on her shirt matched the DNA of the victims, as confirmed by her statements under legal hypnosis. As she was a minor under the criminal age, Karma was sent to a juvenile detention center for 2 years. During her time there, she experienced significant difficulties during rehabilitation, exhibiting extreme aggression, a sadistic personality, and superhuman physical abilities that went beyond normal human limits. Due to these traits, she killed several officers while incarcerated. Given these reasons, the Seoul Juvenile Protection Review Board dealt with her as a juvenile offender. After her release, an order for supervised probation was issued by the Ministry of Justice. In the classroom, Song remarked that an interesting girl had joined their class. Meanwhile, a boy, engrossed in his phone, was told that it wasn't the time to be playing games because a defector transfer student had arrived in the girl's class. As the news spread, the boys wondered if the girl was pretty. The boy agreed, and soon they all rushed to the girl's class to see her. They learned that she was in the 6th class, and they waited outside, eager to catch a glimpse. When they finally saw her, they were stunned by her beauty. Some commented on her short hair and how she carried herself with a confidence that was not typical. They realized that the boys from the north and the girls from the south were both exceptionally beautiful. The girls' homeroom teacher noticed the boys lingering outside the classroom and shouted at them to leave. However, the boys stayed a little longer, hoping for another chance to see her. Inside the classroom, one of the girls wondered aloud how the boys could be so pathetic. She then turned to Karma and remarked that her North Korean accent hadn't been noticeable at all during her introduction. Another girl agreed, pointing out that the defectors they had seen on the news had strong accents, and asked if Karma had been trying to speak like a South Korean. Karma nodded and explained that she had practiced hard by watching K-dramas. Curious, the girl then asked Karma to speak in North Korean for them. Karma happily complied, greeting them in her native dialect and introducing herself. The girls were delighted, commenting that Karma was funny and cute, and they joked that she must have been popular in North Korea. June sat next to Karma and felt overwhelmed by the noise around her. Sitting next to the transfer student, she couldn't help but feel that the atmosphere was chaotic. Yet there was something captivating about it that made Karma fit in so smoothly during break time. June also felt a pang of jealousy. If only she could laugh carefreely like the others, without worrying about anything. If only she could be as pretty and popular as the transfer student. Then, Song appeared, asking what they were talking about so happily, and if she could join in on the laughter. The girls froze, terrified to see her. Song sat down and greeted Karma, welcoming her to South Korea, complimenting her as a delicate and pretty girl. She then suggested they become close friends and invited Karma to join their group. Karma, curious about the group, asked what it was about. Song assured her that it would be a lot of fun. Meanwhile, June, feeling a sense of dread, watched the way the transfer student was being approached by everyone, and she couldn't help but think that even the police had their own hierarchies. But why did it have to be Song? Karma seemed so naive, and June wondered if she would be okay. Karma recalled what Bayek had told her about Song, how she was the daughter of the president of Nongun Trading Company, and how she would be Karma's first target. Karma had noticed Song's nasty attitude and couldn't help but wonder about her intentions. Meanwhile, Lee reflected on Song's past actions. Among the people she had bullied, she had frequently assaulted Miss Hyena, the most noted in the lady's diary. One particularly disturbing detail was that Song often kicked Hyena in the abdomen. What was most shocking, however, was that Song was the very person who had conceived the fog learning bullying method. Although the severity of the bullying she had inflicted was the least among the perpetrators, there was no doubt that Song had been actively involved and malicious in her actions. Currently, she was attending Unro High School, one of the 4 schools Karma had been transferred to, and the only one located in Seoul. Beck was relieved that the admission process went smoothly and was completed without issue. Measures had been put in place to ensure Karma would be in the same class as Song. Considering Song's curious nature, Bayek believed she would only approach Karma once she transferred. Karma nodded, understanding the situation. She remarked that if Song approached her, she would cover her body with bruises and cuts. Lee immediately disagreed, stating that there was something far more important for Karma to do first. If Song approached her, Karma was to agree to be her friend. Karma reluctantly complied and agreed to be friends with Song. Song was thrilled by Karma's response, rushing to hug her in appreciation. She exclaimed that they would become great friends. One of the girls commented that Song was acting cute again. Song responded that it was because Karma was so lovable. She then turned to Karma and asked if she had introduced herself to June, who was sitting next to her. Karma mentioned that they had exchanged a few words. At that moment, June appeared frightened and uncomfortable. June told Karma that it was time to have some fun and get closer to her. With a snap, 2 girls stood behind June, covering her face with cloth, making it difficult for her to breathe. As Karma asked what they were doing, Song replied that it was just a volunteer activity for a friend with disabilities. June, barely able to see out of one eye, struggled with depth perception. In her confusion, she bumped into Song's desk and dropped Song's precious iPhone. Luckily, the phone didn't get scratched, but Song insisted that for June's safety, they needed to do something to prevent this from happening again. Song decided to train June to avoid the desk, even with her eyes closed. She stepped up to June and told her that she could do it. June, trembling in fear, was barely able to stand still. Song reminded June that she had given her special milk to cheer her up, and now she needed to make it to the other side of the room without hitting the desk. She assured her it would be easy, but warned that each time June hit something, she would be punished. With that, Song pushed June forward. June carefully took a few steps, but she bumped into a chair. As punishment, Song kicked her, causing her to fall into another desk. Song struck her again, and the two girls with Song began laughing, recording the entire scene on their phones. June broke down in tears, sobbing uncontrollably. One of the girls asked Song why she had hit June again. Song responded coldly, explaining that it was because June had hit the desk when she fell, so it counted as another mistake. She then asked if the video was being recorded properly. The girls agreed, still laughing as they filmed. The other girls started to worry about June as well. Song coldly suggested that they could hit June once more to help her improve her spatial awareness. She then proposed that they put a bag over June's head during lunch and throw her into the boys' bathroom. The class president, unable to stand by any longer, shouted at Song, demanding that she stop. Before the president could say more, Karma spoke up, angrily telling Song to stop bullying their powerless friend. She pointed out that even a 5-year-old would know that bullying was wrong, and she demanded that they let June go. When Song didn't respond, Karma asked again, urging her to let June go and apologizing to her. The other girls just watched, uncertain of what would happen next. Song, visibly enraged, asked Karma what she had just said. She then threw June aside and mockingly wondered if North Koreans were always so clueless, or if bullying was absent there. Song made it clear that she ruled this place and that Karma had two choices, either fit in or leave, or, if Karma wanted to fight, she could try. Karma, unflinching, replied that if Song kept this up, she would call the teacher. Song laughed at the suggestion, taunting Karma, saying that in North Korea, not listening to the teacher might lead to execution, but this was South Korea. With that, she kicked Karma, causing her to stumble and fall back. Karma recalled a time when she was practicing boxing. Lee told her that she shouldn't strike anyone first. She asked why, since she intended to defeat them all anyway, and wondered if it really mattered whether she hit first or not. Lee explained that it did matter, and added that he found it boring to engage in a quick fight, only to treat the opponent like a mere plaything. The main goal of their plan was to create an environment where they could continue torturing Song. The setup was already in place. All that was left was finding a pretext to send Song there. For that pretext, Karma had to become the innocent victim of school violence. When Song approached, she was to pretend to be innocent and greet her warmly. Karma was instructed to always respond non-violently when she witnessed injustice. Furthermore, the pretext had to be framed in their favor at all times. Karma responded, saying that she hated sweet potatoes, even in North Korea, but wondered if she truly wanted to hit them. She couldn't stand the urge to act on it and asked what she should do. Lee suggested she take one hit in front of everyone. After that, she could do as she pleased. So, Karma stopped thinking about it, and when the moment came, she told Song that she would hit her in the belly. Song asked what Karma was talking about. Just then, a man approached, calling them over. He told them to quickly change into their gym clothes. Teacher Min Young's training schedule had changed, which meant the timetable was adjusted as well. He urged them to hurry up and get ready. Song became worried when she remembered that the gym performance test was scheduled for that day. Her friend wondered why everything was being handled so poorly. Karma reminded her of what Lee had said. She needed to hold back for at least a week. The key to their plan was for Karma to appear as the victim. If she messed things up because of her impulsiveness, Lee wouldn't forgive her. Karma knew she had to control herself, but the thought of it made her feel irritated. She couldn't feel physical pain due to her condition, but the frustration still lingered. Song called Karma, saying they would meet during the next break, and that she'd spoil Karma to death. Later, as Song was smoking a cigarette outside, she remarked that secretly smoking during gym class was the best. She was sitting on top of June, who was crying at the time. Song said she must have felt bad about getting kicked out for her mistake earlier and apologized for that. To make up for it, she offered June a cigarette, saying it was a free one. The smoke from the cigarette got into June's mouth, causing her to cough. Another girl nearby wondered what was going on, pointing out that the cigarettes weren't even used up, they were just a few new ones. They owed June for what had happened. The second girl asked if she thought so, and Song agreed. As they continued teasing, they heard footsteps approaching. The second girl wondered if the footsteps were heading toward them. Song wondered if they were about to get caught. The first girl suggested they put out the cigarettes quickly. As a girl approached, Song commented that it was too late for her, but when she saw Karma, she relaxed and said it was just the class president who had scared her. The class president told them to cut it out. June, still with a tear-streaked face, looked at her. Song then asked the class president if she was there to use her authority as class president to stop them. The class president responded, her tone carrying an air of surprise. Song smirked and replied that she had just figured out how smart the class president really was. June silently thought that the class president, Moon Yejin, shouldn't be wasting time on someone like her. Frustrated, Yejin took the cigarette and crushed it with a fierce determination. Song, watching her, commented that she thought Yejin had quit smoking. Yejin shot her a sharp look and asked if Song thought she could stop smoking just by seeing them. She then told them to be a little more considerate, mentioning that it hadn't even been a year since they had driven a kid to her death. She added that talking about Lee Hyena's situation had brought bad luck to everyone involved. June was shocked, struggling to understand why the class president was now associating with Song's gang. Yejin, sensing her confusion, mentioned that the rumors about her had already spread throughout their class. In shock, another girl asked who was spreading the rumors, and she threatened to cut their tongues out. Yejin, angered, demanded to know what she had just said. She told the girl they needed to lay low. But then, after hearing her words about cutting tongues, Yejin sarcastically asked if she should just go ahead and cut their tongues off herself. The girl quickly apologized. Song, sensing the tension, asked Yejin why her mood was so tight. Yejin, now serious, warned them to listen carefully. She reminded them they were high schoolers, not idiots with no plans for the future. She asked if they really wanted to end up like that. Like Hyena, who had no future. The world, she said, wasn't filled with idiots like that. And if they wanted to keep doing stupid things, they shouldn't drag her into their mess. She asked if they understood. Song, angry, thought to herself that Yejin was starting to lecture again. She had been condescending ever since they entered high school. Song remembered that Yejin had always acted this way since middle school, pretending to be a model student, sitting in the back seat, letting others take the fall for her dirty work. But when no one was around, Yejin would do the most disgusting things, and that's what Song hated about her. Yejin, noticing Song's stare, asked why she was looking at her like that, wondering if Song was trying to make her kill her. Song quickly turned her face away and asked that when did she stare. Then she apologized, admitting she was wrong. Yejin told them to do well and warned them not to cross the line because she had been lenient lately. Then, she turned to June and said that when the girls were bullying her, it was hard for Yejin to hold back. She reminded them that they all knew beating people up had its consequences. She called June over, asking what she could do when life was so painful. Yejin threatened that if June caused a fuss with the school violence committee or made her school life difficult, she would kill her. She then asked if June understood. To drive her point home, Yejin placed her foot on June's fingers, making her feel the pain. June begged her to leave her alone. But Yejin didn't let up, continuing to smoke her cigarette. June swore she wouldn't cause any trouble and promised not to report anything to the school violence committee. As Yejin removed her foot, June's hand bent awkwardly, causing Song to stumble and fall. Enraged, Song kicked June. Yejin laughed and asked what Song was going to do about it, mocking her by calling her an idiot and daring her to go crazy. Yejin flicked the cigarette away, telling them to stop whatever they were doing and go back to their class since it was their turn for the performance evaluation. She warned them not to come out immediately but to wait for a while after she left. She believed they all had enough sense to know better. Before leaving, she turned to Song, reminding her that she had already told her to lie low, but she could still take out her frustration on the transfer student a little, as that had genuinely pissed Yejin off. The sports teacher was surprised that Karma didn't have gym clothes, as she had just transferred and should have borrowed them from someone in another class. However, he realized that she probably didn't know anyone in the other classes. Karma mentioned that it was fine, and she could participate in her uniform. The teacher explained that it would count toward her grade, and he would still grade her, even though she was in her uniform. She thanked him for that. The teacher then called the other girls, telling them that if they were done, they should put the soccer balls back and wait for their next turn. One of the girls approached Karma, mentioning that it looked like a fight was about to happen. A few soccer balls were placed in front of Karma, and the other girls were surprised, wondering if Karma was really going to kick the ball in her uniform, and if she would be fine with that. One girl commented that Karma looked so delicate in front of the ball and wondered what she was going to do. Song, overhearing the conversation, told the girl to just go ahead and kiss Karma. The girl quickly apologized to Song for the suggestion. Song thought to herself that she really wanted a new toy, as she was tired of playing with June. Messing with her only in class made her feel low class. If she was going to keep a dog, it should be worth training. She looked at Karma, thinking how perfect she seemed, just the right amount of fight. Since Karma was a defector with no connections, she was an easy target. And above all, she was skinny and weak. Karma kicked the first soccer ball so fast that it went into the goal without the goalkeeper even noticing. The other girls were shocked. They heard the sound of the ball hitting the net, which sounded like a cannon shot. It felt as though the kick had been delivered by a boy. Karma then kicked the second ball, surprising the teacher as well. When it came time for the third ball, Karma took a deep breath before kicking it. The ball struck the goalpost and ricocheted toward the girls, who barely managed to dodge it. One of the girls, along with Song, became angry at Karma for nearly hitting them. The girl glared at Karma, only to find that Karma was smiling. The girl called out to Song, who was enraged. She muttered that Karma was defying her and challenging her openly. Song declared that Karma would be dead after gym class. After gym class, Karma was in the classroom when Song walked in, confronting her. Song asked if Karma had aimed the ball at them on purpose, and if she had been itching to do so. She taunted Karma, asking if she thought Song would be scared after seeing her strength. Then Song asked if Karma knew who her brothers were, making it clear that Karma was nothing in comparison. Song challenged Karma to kick the ball at her the same way she did in gym class. Karma calmly denied the challenge, responding that Song's head wasn't on the ground, so how could she treat it like a soccer ball? Song was furious with Karma, and Karma taunted her, saying that Song must really be scared. She pointed out that Song had brought a whole group of people with her, was talking about her brothers, who no one cared about, and was trying to act tough, but it was actually kind of cute. Enraged, Song slapped Karma, but Karma immediately punched her back, sending Song to the ground with a mouthful of blood. Yejin, witnessing this, was also furious. The other girls stood in shock, watching as Song spat blood. They wondered what to do now. Karma, on the other hand, found beating Song to be strangely fun. She thought Song's scream was so rich and satisfying, and she couldn't help but feel sorry for Song's father that she couldn't stop herself. As Song tried to get up, she collapsed again. One of the girls from Song's gang nervously asked what they should do, noticing that Song couldn't even control her own body. The second girl quickly suggested they call the teacher. Karma, getting closer to Song, heard her pleading for someone to hold her back. But Karma simply replied that now, finally, the ball was on the ground, and she was going to kick it. Karma returned the kick, but instead placed her foot on Song's face, asking if she remembered telling her to just kick her. Karma had heard that in South Korea, it was considered good etiquette to follow orders, so she wasn't going to hesitate. She wondered how she should kick Song, whether to curve it nicely or hit the back of her head with a powerful heel kick. After considering it, she decided that since Song seemed slow and worried, she'd go for a knuckleball kick. As Karma prepared to strike, another girl grabbed a chair to hit her. However, Karma dodged it easily, and suddenly, the girl twisted her leg and fell. Karma raised an eyebrow and asked if the girl was dancing ballet. She then grabbed the girl's hair, noting that while loyalty was admirable, she should wait her turn. Karma assured her she would make sure she got her turn, so there was no need to rush. The girl seemed desperate, almost as if she wanted to die first, and Karma was more than willing to grant her that wish. Karma was about to tie the girl up, and the others were too stunned to react. The girl, feeling the pain, wondered what Karma was doing. Karma completed the restraint by using the girl's own hair to tie her up. It was a technique that didn't require ropes, but it was effective. The girl groaned in pain, begging Karma to untie her. Karma grabbed the girl's hair, dragging her along and reminding her that she had tried to hit Karma with a chair earlier. She scolded her for not knowing how to use a chair or a desk properly. Karma then told her to watch closely, and without warning, she shoved the girl's head toward the chair, smashing it painfully against the surface before pulling back after the hit. The girl was bleeding from her mouth as well. Karma repeated this several more times, which caused the other girls to be frightened. The girl kept saying that it was wrong to hit Karma and begged her to stop. She pleaded for help, but no one came to her aid. Another girl called out to Yejin, and Yejin responded that she would go call the teacher. Karma made the girl bleed profusely from her head before kicking her to the ground. The second girl in the group was terrified, and Karma told her it was her turn now. The girl stepped back, trembling, wondering what she had done to provoke Karma. Karma asked if she hadn't done anything, accusing her of thinking Karma was blind. She had clearly seen the girl making a mocking face behind her back, so Karma ordered her to stop being annoying and come forward. As the girl hesitated, Karma took a step toward her. The girl begged Karma to stay back, but suddenly she fell to the ground. Karma wondered why all South Korean girls were so weak in their lower bodies, recalling the orange-haired girls' similar struggles earlier. With such weak legs, they couldn't even run properly. The girl noticed a knife nearby and picked it up, standing in front of Karma, warning her not to come any closer. She repeated several times that she wasn't joking and would definitely slash her if Karma approached. Karma challenged the girl to try to cut her, but the girl was too scared to even move. Karma remarked that it was just as she expected. The girl could only talk. But then, in a desperate attempt, the girl lunged at Karma with the knife. Karma easily dodged her attack. The other girls watched in disbelief, wondering what they should do. The girl tried several more times, but Karma effortlessly avoided each strike. When the girl's hand got too close, Karma seized it, twisted it, and delivered a powerful slam, knocking her unconscious. The other girls were horrified, muttering that Karma was truly a crazy girl. They anxiously wondered if the girl was dead and when the teacher would arrive. Karma yanked the unconscious girl up by her hair and sneered, saying South Korean girls were so dramatic. Despite their talk of her dying, she assured them there was no need to worry. Karma had killed before, and people didn't die that easily. She told them to stop whining and suggested they continue with whatever they were doing. She then kicked the girl into the lockers, and as the girl shifted her head away, Karma kicked her again, striking the same spot. The locker door was smashed, and the girl's head was now wedged inside. The other girls, terrified, considered calling an ambulance and the teacher. They wondered what Karma was doing in class. She was acting like a complete psychopath, and it was starting to seem like she was truly a dangerous, creepy individual. Someone mentioned that they had been provoking Karma and warned that if they kept it up, Karma might do the same to them. Karma snapped, telling them to shut up and listen. She hadn't done this expecting praise, but she wasn't going to stay silent if they didn't appreciate her actions. She pointed out that the class troublemaker, the one they were all afraid of, had been taken care of by Karma herself. So, they should be thankful to her. Then she turned to Song, asking if she thought it wasn't right, and wondered how long Song was going to play dead. Karma asked if Song had seen a bear or something, questioning whether she had any conscience and demanding that she get up. Karma reminded them that in a fight, the one who started it and the one who got beaten were still considered friends, but somehow, Song had gotten beaten even more. Traditionally, the leader of a group, when they lost a fight, was supposed to take responsibility, and Karma made it clear that this should be executed. As Karma looked around for Song, she realized she couldn't find her. She wondered where Song had gone.